G'day, Josh from the Automotive Clinic again. Alright, so some people might recognise this ZD30 Patrol. We had this in a couple of months back. It actually had a fire under the dash, poor bugger. So we repaired a bunch of wiring, we fixed the wiring to the OBD2 plug so the car could be scanned and obviously, communicate with a scan tool. Reasoning being the car was in limp mode, had no power. So after that wiring repair was done, the car then got towed back to the guy's mechanic to diagnose and repair the fault that we had, which was a P0401 EGR system fault. Now, that EGR system, they diagnosed it as a failed EGR valve and cooler, so we've got a brand new EGR valve down there. After that, we had no repair, so the vehicle was still no good. It's been quite a few months since then, and what I'll show you here is an OE wiring diagram. Now, after that, customer was pretty confident, and we obviously were more than happy to check that the wiring from the EGR valve wasn't damaged to the ECU, considering there was an electrical fire under there, which is entirely possible. We got the car back in, confirmed all the wiring, so all the wiring from that valve down there, every pin was good back to the computer where it has to go. We load tested every wire, that was all sweet. So post that, obviously we asked the customer if he wants us to look into the running issues and sort of see what else we can do with it. Now what we had was, initially, and I'll show you quickly, we'll just put the key on. When I looked at it initially, we were looking at Nissan dealer data, so I was using the OE data. Now we had no mass airflow data appeared in the Nissan OE data, and what we had was, when I come into OBD2 data, which this is, that mass airflow rate reading there that's jumping from 0.5, 0.4, etc., was stuck at 0.55. We had no mass airflow reading whatsoever with the car on, or at idle. It was just dead stuck at 0.55. That's our old sensor there. Now from there, what we did was we confirmed our wiring was good. So I've got an OE diagram here, or an aftermarket diagram, same thing. What we've got is, we've got a white wire that's 12 volt feed, that was all good. Those two wires that have the shielding going over them there is our signal wires going back to ECU, and then we've got the ground. And then we've got that ground on, where is it? On a black wire. Now, we confirmed all our wiring was good. I did trace it back to the computer quickly. The two signal wires, I load tested them just to make sure there wasn't any high resistance in that circuit. With that all traced back, that was all sweet. So we were confident then that we had a dead mass airflow sensor. Now, I just wanted to explain to people the relationship between your MAF readings and your EGR value. What this ECU is looking for when that car is started is it wants to see a change in the mass airflow reading relative to the EGR valve opening and closing position, the amount that it's open or closed. With a mass airflow reading that is stuck or not reading correctly, you will end up setting EGR faults. Now, it is very odd that, well, not odd, but it's a strategy of the computer that this hasn't set a mass airflow sensor circuit fault or a mass airflow sensor high or low. Reasoning for that is the signal and what the sensor was stuck at, I believe, is a good ignition on voltage, a good static signal output. The fact that it didn't set a fault for it, obviously it's a pain in the ass, but a bit of critical thinking and you can figure out, that is dead related to your EGR issue. So now we've got a good sensor in there. I'm going to start this old girl up quickly and we'll show you what the mass airflow readings are like, and I might even hook up the scope and just sort of run over it. So she starts up perfect, no engine light, we've got a fuel light on, but not worried about that. It does boost up fine now as well. We had no boost before, so we got full boost back, which is great. And as you can see, our mass airflow sensor is reading fine, and what you'll see as that EGR valve closes up, that mass airflow reading is going to change. So as the car warms up and the EGR valve closes, you'll see that MAF reading will start to dip. Now that we've got a mass airflow reading, everything else is fine. Our calculated load is good at 15%. At idle, coolant temperature is still cold. Everything else is good, everything else is reading correctly, and we can watch that EGR valve, in live data, live OE data, changing. Turn that off quickly because we haven't got much fuel. What I'll do now is I'll just hook the scope up and I'll show you what the MAF signals look like coming out of it. Otherwise, that's that. This has been 7 months off the road, so we're really happy that it's all sorted. Customer will be stoked as well. The mass airflow sensors aren't that expensive realistically. They're something like $280 for a good one. what we're going to do now is we're going to get it back to him. He's got some other bits and pieces he wants to do first up, I believe, and then we most likely at some stage are going to have all of this jazz to tidy up. We've still got heaps of crap under the dash and burnt out cut wires and grounds and stuff like that. So I'll show you what the signal readings look like, and this is good to go. Alright, so we've got the scope hooked up. I'm going to quickly back probe these wires just to show you what we've got here. So first one, 12 volt supply to the mass airflow sensor. And where are we? That's our output voltage, and we've got a good ground and our 5 volts. There's our 5 volts feed, and then that's our ground. So mass airflow sensor is now outputting a proper voltage, and this is good to go at this stage.